The Kraft Music Hall, starring Don Amici, with Connie Boswell, John Scott Trotter and his orchestra, Jerry Lester and the Music Maids. Don's special guests for this evening include the star of United Artists' forthcoming picture, The Corsican Brothers, Lieutenant Douglas Fairbanks, Jr., USNR.
Hey, what's that USNR?
What, Jerry, that's United States Naval Reserve.
Oh, yeah.
Don is also happy to welcome Robert Coote, the young Hollywood actor who is now a flying lieutenant with the RCAF.
What's that RCAF?
What, Jerry, that's Royal Canadian Air Force.
Oh, yeah.
Don's third guest is one of America's outstanding musicians, Duke Ellington.
Oh, you mean Duke Ellington, JJRZ.
Well, what's that JJRZ?
Jump and jive with a root zoot.
And here's that headman himself, Don Amici.
Oh, you mean Don Amici, IDA.
Oh, what's that IDA?
Ida. Let's hear it, Don.
Ida, sweet as apple cider, sweeter than all I know. Come out in the silvery moonlight, of love will whisper so soft and low. Seems though can't live without you. Listen, oh honey, do. Ida, I idolize you. I love you, Ida, deed I do.
Ida, sweet as apple cider, sweet as cider, sweeter than all I know. Come on out in the silvery moonlight, of love will whisper, so soft and low, soft and low. It seems as though I can't live without you. Come on and listen, honey, please do. Ida, I idolize ya. Love you, Ida, deed I do.
Seems though can't live without you. Listen, oh honey, do. Ida, I idolize you. I love you, Ida, deed I do.
Say, Don, do you do any singing in your new 20th Century Fox picture, Confirm or Deny?
No, Ken, no singing. It's a newspaper yarn.
Oh, it's a good title, Confirm or Deny.
Yeah, it took them a long time to decide on that title. They looked at the picture half a dozen times before they finally tagged it Confirm or Deny.
Different from my first picture. They looked at it just once and tagged it File and Forget.
Well, say, that's very interesting, Jerry. I didn't know you'd ever made a picture.
Oh, just one, Don. The sequel to The Bride Came COD.
Well, what's the sequel to The Bride Came COD?
The Groom Refused Delivery.
I see. Mm-hmm. Isn't it thrilling, though, Jerry, going to the sneak preview of your first picture and getting the audience reaction?
Oh, we never have sneak previews for my pictures, Don.
Well, why not?
Can't get enough sneaks to fill the theater.
Well, look, Jerry, if you're serious about working in pictures, I might be able to speak to Darryl Zanuck about you.
Honest?
Yep.
Oh, gee. You know, you can tell Zanuck I was once leading man in a popular traveling company.
Really popular?
Yeah, as long as we kept traveling.
Well, you must have stopped once in a while to sleep and eat.
Only to sleep. We once played a town so small that we had to put the shows on in a barn.
Is that so? Did you have a big crowd?
Played to over 500. Chickens.
Just chickens?
Uh-huh. It was the first comedy show I'd ever seen where the audience laid the eggs.
Oh, fine.
But I've been trying to improve my acting by attending Blintzberger's dramatic school. Oh, it's a humdrum. You ought to see how handsome their makeup department made me.
Mm-hmm.
Want to hear how they made me handsome?
That I'd like to hear.
Well, first, they covered my face all over with a mask.
Yeah, and then what?
And then I was handsome.
I see. Well, when they finally got you all prettied up like that, what did they do to teach you acting?
Oh, they gave me a scene to play.
Uh-huh.
Gee, the way I did it, I thought I was sensation. Coloss. Terrific.
What did your teacher say?
He said I was low.
My respect for his judgment is growing.
Yes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I heard my teacher was so bad in a play that every time he took a bow, the footlights kicked him.
Yeah, well, be careful the spotlights don't spot you, Jerry.
Oh, Don.
And remember, if an actor makes one misstep, the public will forget him overnight.
Well, that's Hollywood. One day putting your footprints in cement, the next day mixing it. But I did very well. I did very well in school yesterday registering emotions. For instance, like this.
What was that?
That's how I register joy. Now get this.
What's that?
That's how I register passion.
You got any more?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my flat feet. Oh, my flat feet.
What's that?
That's how I register for the draft.
I don't know, Jer. This school you're going to doesn't sound as if it used the most modern methods. For instance, what are they doing about your posture?
Well, for an hour every morning, I have to walk around with a book balanced on my head. And it's an awful strain on my eyes.
How can walking around with a book balanced on your head be a strain on your eyes?
It's so hard to read it in that position.
Well, at least they're trying to straighten you out. Another very important thing about acting is proper breathing.
Oh, don't I know it, Don? They worked on my breathing for 2 full months.
Oh, yeah? And are they satisfied?
Nope, I'm still breathing.
I see. You know, you should learn diaphragmatic breathing. You know, the diaphragm is almost as important to an actor as the profile.
Well, maybe, but somehow I can't imagine calling John Barrymore the Great Diaphragm.
You should have seen him as Hamlet.
Yeah.
Now, let me show you how diaphragmatic breathing works. Hold your hand over your stomach. That's it. Now, take a big, deep breath. That's right. Now, recite something.
I wish I were a kangaroo, despite the way he prances. I'd have a place to put the junk my girlfriend brings to dances. How is that for a dramatic reading, huh?
I wonder, Jer, is your dramatic teacher extremely capable?
Oh, deaf, Donzie, deaf.
You're convinced thoroughly that he's the best there is, huh?
Oh, deaf, Donzie, deaf.
Then how can he stand that untheatrical, hollow, raspy, squeaky, miserable little voice of yours?
Oh, deaf, Donzie, very deaf.
Honestly, Jerry, I can't understand why unprepossessing, cut-down, foreshortened little guys like you are always trying to get into pictures.
Well, keep flattering me, and I'll tell you. Would you really like to hear the story of my arrival in Hollywood?
Yes, by all means. Tell us how you came here by bus and of those first early decades of struggles. How after stopping to that twice, you finally landed his job as a stand-in for Shirley Temple.
Well,
Tell us how you refused small roles, how you objected to bit parts, thinking bits were for horses.
Well,
Tell us how you knew you'd find ultimate success because you came to pictures from a long line of actors. A long line of actors in front of the casting office.
Hey, can I get a word in? It's my turn.
Who is it?
Yes, you know, Ken, I think Don has an impediment in his speech.
Well, what makes you say that?
He stops every once in a while to breathe.
Yeah, and I'm stopping right now for a good long breath as Connie Boswell sings Bayou, Bayou, the Louisiana Lullaby, as only a lady from old New Orleans could sing it.
Bayou, Bayou, the Louisiana lullaby. It's sweet and low. You sing it as you rock a by. Bayou, Bayou, the Louisiana lullaby. It's blue, I know. It makes the weeping willow cry. Each night by the light of the moonbeams, I can hear it calling softly. It seems to whisper, come back with your June dreams. South wind's waiting, Dixie wants me. Bayou, Bayou, I wish I hadn't said goodbye. I love it so, the Louisiana lullaby. Bayou, Bayou, Louisiana lullaby. It's sweet and low. Sing it as you rock a bye-bye, Bayou, bye-bye-oh. Louisiana lullaby. It's blue, I know, makes the weeping willow cry. Each night by the light of the moonbeam, I can hear it calling softly. It seems to whisper, come back with your June dreams. Southland's waiting, Dixie wants me. Bayou, Bayou, I wish I hadn't said goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye. The Louisiana lullaby. Bayou, Louisiana lullaby. Louisiana lullaby.
is really, really swell, Connie. Say, Jerry,
What's that?
gives me an idea. If you want to get into pictures, why not get in the way Connie did, by singing?
You know a kid by the name of Crosby got in by singing, too?
Why, sure, it's a cinch. Why not try to get in singing?
I did, but they wanted me to supply my own bathtub.
Oh, no, on the level, Jer. Music seems to be the open sesame to a film career. Take Duke Ellington, for instance. He's preparing a new picture with Orson Welles.
I thought Wells was a lone wolf.
Well, I don't know now. I've kind of heard that, too, you know. But we're only interested in his professional career. You know that, don't you?
I think what you meant, Jerry, was that Orson Welles worked out his own pictures all by himself, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant, Connie.
That's what I thought.
That's what I say. He not only writes, directs, and acts in his pictures, but he takes close-ups of himself by working the camera with his foot.
Well, Orson has a very special reason for collaborating with Duke Ellington. He's doing a history of swing. Or am I wrong, Duke?
That's right, you're right. At present, the picture's called It's All True.
Oh, it's about the World Series. It's all true.
Didn't you hear the Duke say it's to be a history of swing? Say, you know, Bing recently finished a picture with a similar background. The Birth of the Blues.
Birth of the Blues. Sounds like another Dr. Kildare picture. You know, Duke, I was in a review once that reminded me a lot of your review, Jump for Joy.
In what way?
Well, we used to jump from the sheriff. What a show. The cast was so hungry that when people in the first row put their feet on the stage, the actors snapped at them.
Did you dance or talk in this review?
Oh, I had a scene with where a girl and I danced and talked at the same time.
Oh, yeah? Was it a good scene?
Well, it was sort of a vicious circle. The girl stepped on all my lines, and I stepped on all her feet. Say, could you speak to Wells about me, Duke?
Well, have you had any straight dramatic experience?
Well, I was once in a drama that had the whole audience crying.
No kidding. How did you do it?
Printed the program on onion skin. Oh, how they cried.
I suppose the play was a sellout.
Sellout? It was a washout.
That's too bad. Too bad.
Oh, I'm not so bad. They once divided up a Pulitzer Prize among me and two other guys.
Which part did you get?
The first two letters. P.U. I said it, and I'm glad.
Well, I'm afraid we'd better drop your theatrical aspirations, Jerry.
Hear that, Duke? That's the way he talks. He's in. But me, all I want is to get into one picture and make love to one of those beautiful English actresses.
Why do you want to make love to an English actress?
I want to do some bundling for Britain. Say, would you please speak to Wells about me, Duke? I'm sure he'd be interested.
Well, what I'm interested in, Duke, is what inspired your show, Jump for Joy.
Well, the whole idea grew out of a jam session.
Oh, that's for me. I love a jam session.
Oh, you like music?
No, jam.
Yeah, well, that's too bad, Jerry, because right now the Duke is going to make music, not preserves. And like Jump for Joy, it's another type of jump that has the Duke's music beautifully in the groove. With John Scott Trotter's group and James Blanton Jr., the Ellington combination, on the bass, the Duke plays Take the A-Train. Go on, take it, Duke. Really fine, Duke. That is fine. And we'll be hearing more from Duke Ellington later. At the moment, we ask you to turn your thoughts from the Dukes, take the A train, in the hope that you'll take the K hint. The hint, please, my friend.
These days, wise homemakers are as much on the alert for tips on nutrition as they are for new recipes. So, first of all, we bring you information about the food value of Velveeta, Kraft's delicious cheese food. Hidden in Velveeta's rich yet mild cheddar cheese flavor is an abundance of milk protein and milk minerals. This cheese food is an excellent food source of vitamin A and vitamin G. Velveeta is pasteurized and digestible as milk itself. In short, Velveeta is one of the foods that help build strong Americans. It's good to know all this when Junior comes in begging for a little snack or when Dad starts reconnoitering in the refrigerator past midnight. It's nice to know that when you treat the folks to a golden Velveeta rarebit, that rarebit is an ample dinner main dish from the nutritional point of view. So let the family revel in the nutritious cheese food with the flavor they love so well. Buy the thrifty 2-pound Velveeta loaf to have ready for snacks and sandwiches. You'd better do that tomorrow.
Home on the range. Home on the range. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, skies are not cloudy all day. Home on the range, where the deer and antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. How often at night, when the heavens are bright with the light from the glittering stars, have I stood there amazed, and I ask as I gaze if their glory exceeds that of ours. Home on the range, where the deer and antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and skies are not cloudy all day. I went out stepping with a city pal of mine, didn't get to bed till way after 9. I was having lots of fun until the waiter handed me the bill. Now I'll take my home on the range. I was a fool to think that I could stand the pace. Sage and tumbleweeds are written on my face. I like to hear those jive bands swinging, but I miss my cowboy singing way, way out on the range. Where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Home on the range.
Oh, that is magnificent, Connie. That is really a stirring Home on the Range.
Well, I'm glad you liked it, Don. You know, I kind of figured we'd get pretty hungry if we didn't have something stirring, Home on the Range.
Connie, honey, please. Some people have to say things like that for a living.
Oh, I'm sorry, Don. I don't seem to be able to ever say the right thing at the right time.
Well, then I'm sure we can all benefit by having Douglas Fairbanks, Jr. here with us in the Kraft Music Hall this evening. Doug has always been a diplomatic sort of guy. Been around the world a couple of times. Would you care to give us a few lessons in diplomacy, Doug?
Well, I'm afraid I'm hardly qualified to give any lessons in anything, let alone diplomacy, Don. Except to say, never believe what a poet says about it.
Poet? Well, let's see now. Do I remember something from college dramatics? Was it the play Leglon where Rostan says you can tell a diplomat by the skillful way he hides his claws?
Well, I wouldn't know about that. I was thinking of John Hayes' lines. There are 3 species of creatures who, when they seem coming, are going. Diplomats, women, and crabs.
That's probably the first time I've ever heard women classed with diplomats.
Don, mind your chivalry. Women are the greatest diplomats in the world.
Oh, and that really was diplomacy.
No, I really meant it.
Oh, then it couldn't have been diplomacy.
No. No, I meant to say well, don't forget that women have been the powers behind many an empire.
Yeah, and what happened? Empress Eugenie hats.
Very well, belittle their empires and you'll find any catty woman is diplomacy personified. At least according to Isaac Goldberg, who claimed that diplomacy is to do and say the nastiest things in the nicest way.
Well, you know, that should make Jerry a diplomat.
Oh, thanks a lot. Oh, I'd love that, Don. I'd like to be a great diplomat and be sent on a special mission.
Well, at least it'd get you out of the country.
You mean there's some place where it isn't Los Angeles?
You want a special mission, eh?
Yep.
You think you could learn all the things a special envoy must know, Jerry?
Think so?
Well, you know, you've got to be specially trained to handle diplomatic errands. You know that.
Well, I'd study. I'd learn. Gee, I'd give anything to be sent on a special errand.
Good. Here's a nickel. Get me a paper.
Gee, and 3 cents for going.
Just what would you say is the most important job of a diplomat, Doug?
Well, that's something you'd really ought to ask a diplomat. But I've always imagined that an ambassador, for instance, is expected to know exactly what's going on in whatever country he's accredited to.
Yeah.
And to keep his government accurately informed, of course.
You mean an ambassador's got to be kind of nosy?
Well, what's wrong with that? A great nose indicates a great man. Genial, courteous, intellectual, virile, courageous. Those are the qualities Cyrano de Bergerac says a man with a large nose has.
But you know the best thing about a man with a large nose?
What?
He can go through a revolving door with no hands.
You know, that remark alone, Jer, ought to rule you out as a diplomat.
Oh, gee, fellas, no. My ambition is still to be a great diplomat, no matter what you say.
Hey, careful, Jer. A diplomat can never take a no matter what you say attitude about anything. Can he, Doug?
Well, it seems to me it's a dangerous attitude for anyone to take. He'd be sticking his neck out. And I've been told that it's a diplomat's job to save face.
Well,
why should you want to save that face?
So I'll have something to stick my tongue out of. Gee, I've even trained for an ambassador's job.
How, Jerry?
Well, I've thrown members of my family into a concrete mixer.
Well, do you think throwing members of your family into a concrete mixer will make you a diplomat?
It's bound to show me how to cement relations.
I'm afraid you'll have to learn to cement better relations than yours, Jerry.
Yeah, you'd have to do something about your manners and your wardrobe.
And I imagine diplomacy is a lot more than mere manners and wardrobe. You've got to know something, too.
What did you know?
I don't like the way you said that.
Well, then, what did you know?
Nothing.
Oh, that's different, yeah.
Must be a lot of work just getting used to the complicated conventions of diplomatic phraseology.
Well, the roundabout way some diplomatic conversations are conducted is far beyond guys like us.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'd need an interpreter on almost any sort of diplomatic discussion.
Yeah, I guess we both would. But still, I'd like to get me an interpreter and be an ambassador. Say, Ken, do you think you could dream up a mission for me, huh?
Sure.
You could, huh?
Dream, dream, dream. Of a world where every diplomat has his own interpreter. Dream, dream, dream. Of the little kingdom of Borscht. Ambassador Amici and his faithful interpreter Lester approach the kingdom of Borscht. The Secretary of State of Borscht, D. Fairbanks, meets them at the gates. Ambassador Amici's party stops. Secretary of State Fairbanks speaks in the language of diplomacy.
As Secretary of State for the Kingdom of Borscht, I welcome you and give you the assurance of my government that we have every anxiety for your welfare and every hope to bring our peoples ever closer together in a truly binding friendship.
My government thanks you and pleads for a translation.
The Secretary, he say, hit the road, bum. You don't get nothing out of us.
But in that case, I say to you that my government has sent me to this wonderful kingdom of Borscht in the interest of friendship and self-perpetuating goodwill.
My government requests a translation.
Just a moment, please. My translator seems to have disappeared. Oh, there he goes. Hey, Lester, come back here. What's the idea of following that rumba dancer?
Well, you told me a diplomat should follow all national movements.
Tell Secretary Fairbanks that for generations upon generations, our countries have enjoyed unguarded frontiers, and that in the interest of our mutual goodwill, I am here to see that our borders remain that way.
He says there's some murderous border disputes.
Tell him you can always trace all border trouble to one thing.
What's that? The borders don't like the meals.
So I speak to you in the simple language of the kingdom of Borscht. In plain Borscht, with border clashes going on, and with our nationals inside your territory, I demand to know, in case of trouble, what happens to our nationals.
In plain Borscht, be advised that we plan to handle your nationals in the way the Yankees handled the Brooklyn Nationals.
And is that your last word?
Yes, now what do we do?
We each go back to our capitals and announce that as a result of our conversations, a new and deeper bond of friendship exists between our two great countries. Thank you, Mr. Fairbanks. I return to tell my countrymen all that has happened. And after I have talked to them, I'm sure they'll be happy to hear Connie Boswell sing, "I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire."
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you. No other will do. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. I just want to be the one you love. And with your admission that you feel the same, I'll have reached the goal I'm dreaming of. Believe me, I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your
keep on singing like that, Connie, and you may set the world on fire in spite of yourself. But till that happens, here's our colleague to warm up the world a bit to all our mutual benefit.
Does your family include a man who fancies himself as a good cook? Well, here's a recipe for one of those occasions when that man of the house decides to show his talents. You ready, men? First, you tell the storekeeper you want a half-a-pound package of Velveeta, and then put that famous cheese food in the top of the double boiler. That's the double-deck two-saucepan affair, and you have boiling water in the underneath pan, of course. When the Velveeta is melted down, you slowly stir in 1/3 of a cup of milk or cream, seasoned to suit yourself. And then, man alive, look what you've done. You've got a smooth, golden, tantalizing cheese sauce that would do credit to a real chef. Into that glorious sauce, toss some lobster, crab meat, shrimps, chipped bacon, or whatever strikes your fancy. Serve the whole thing on toast. And if that concoction doesn't fetch you a real reputation as a cook, I miss my guess. Of course, I'm apt to miss my guess if you make the mistake of not taking care to use Velveeta. Yes, sir, smooth, melting Velveeta is what ensures the success of that sauce. And that's why so many expert cooks always use Velveeta for all cheese cookery as well as for snacks and sandwiches. Professor Amici, I've just discovered arboriculture. That's the study of trees, and it's fascinating.
What is fascinating about the study of trees? Or are you planning to go back to living in one?
Oh, no. Professor Amici, that's another long tale. But right now, now that colorful autumn is here, I find that my time is constantly occupied by thoughts of beautiful trees.
You sound trunk drunk.
I'm sap happy. I love to gaze upon sturdy oaks, admire their shapely boughs, their graceful leaves, and their beautifully formed limbs.
And how long have you been interested in beautifully formed limbs?
Ever since I first went to Minsky's.
Well, for a lad whose time is always occupied by beautiful thoughts of trees, your mind certainly gets around.
Well, sir, it was at the theater when I first began thinking about trees. You know, I used to hear baritones singing trees.
And that made you want to plant trees?
No, that made me want to chop them down.
But you enjoyed the baritones?
No, sir. Those I wanted to plant.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we straightened that out.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful picture, Carpenter. I mean, you as a child reveling in nature, ever questioning the ways of the woodlands. I dare say many a time you stopped to wonder why little nuts into giant oak trees grew.
Well, not exactly, but now that I look back, I can't help wondering why some of the little nuts that I saw as a child grew up to be such big nuts.
Well, I'm not interested in discussing your family tree, Carpenter. It's quite obviously suffering from the Dutch elm disease.
Now, please, Professor Amici, don't try to mock my love of trees. Why, sir, I can spend hours just trying to tell the age of some grand old tree by the rings.
Well, I'm really interested in that. Do you think you could teach me to count tree rings?
I could try. Now, here we go. Follow me carefully, and I'm sure you can count tree rings. Professor Amici, what did you think of the tree rings?
Carp, I'd be very happy if you'd make a noise like a tree.
Oh, you mean rustle?
No, I mean leave.
I'm going.
While I carry on Kraft Music All Matters with Robert Coote, Doug Fairbanks Jr., Duke Ellington, Jerry Lester, and at the moment, Connie Boswell.
Hi, neighbor. That's a few if
Hi, neighbor.
Hi, neighbor.
What do you know?
And what do you say?
Hi, neighbor.
Hi, neighbor.
Throw all your worries away.
Come on and shake my hand and let a grin do the rest.
It makes you feel so grand to get your chin off your chest.
I'm shouting, hi, neighbor.
My neighbor, time to play and say hi. Hi, Connie.
Hi, Donnie.
Tell me, gal, what do you know?
Well, I don't know much. What do you say?
Hi, Connie.
Hi, Donnie.
Throw all your worries away.
Come on and shake my hand and let a grin do the rest.
It
makes you feel so grand to get your chin off your chest.
I'm shouting hi, neighbor.
My neighbor.
It's time to play.
Time to say. Time to play and time to say hi.
Oh, that really rates, Gates.
Well, Jerry, we hear so much about our neighbors south of the border, Connie and I thought something ought to be said to one of our neighbors from north of the border. That would be our friend Robert Coote, the young motion picture comedian whom you may remember having heard before here in the Old Kraft Music Hall. Bob Coote is now a flying officer in the Royal Canadian Air Force. I'm sure we're all interested in hearing something about the RCAF, Bob.
Well, Don, if you'll forgive me bragging about an organization that was daring enough to chance even me, it's a perfectly amazing, remarkable organization, oh boy. You know, I never thought when I went up there to Canada that things would be as they are.
Well, how are they?
Well, I mean, they're fine. Fine, thanks. Haven't changed a bit.
Oh, I see. Well, now, pursuing that thought just a little further, how were they before?
Well, now, Don, I don't know. I wouldn't know. I wasn't there before.
Yeah. Well, that clears that up beautifully. But you do like it up there in Edmonton, Canada?
Oh, yes, like it, definitely, Don. A splendid thing ever happened to me, as a matter of fact. Clean living, all that sort of thing, you know. Every man is on his own. No one cares what you were or what you did before. I mean, it must be awful for people who actually have done something. You know, it really is a great place. Up at 6 every morning, Don.
Right away, I don't like it.
I suppose you have your own plane.
Own plane? Oh, yes, of course, yes. You know, you can't do without one if you want to fly, you know that.
Just, what kind of a plane do you have?
Well, you know the model. It's a blue.
Blue?
Yes, you see, I look awfully well in blue.
Doug, you and Bob are pals. Would you like to sort of lead him on to talk about himself a little bit, will you?
Well, I'll try it on. Well, Bob, you might tell us about flying conditions up in Canada.
Oh, yes, I'd be delighted to, old boy. You see, the silly thing is that I fly, the thing I fly, it isn't an airplane at all. I mean, it's exactly like an airplane, but it isn't. It'll do everything an airplane does, only there are a few things that an airplane can do that it can't. So even if it were an airplane, it couldn't be. You see?
Could we have that once again in waltz time?
Oh, now, listen, old boy. No, it's frightfully simple, honestly.
Not the way you're telling it, Bob.
Well, you see, it's like this, man. When I went to Canada and did a lot of training and all that sort of thing, they finally put me to work on the links.
The links? Fine thing. He joins the Royal Canadian Air Force and they make him a caddy.
No, Jerry. Not golf links. Bob's talking about the famous American device for training airplane pilots. The Link Primary Trainer.
That's it, of course. That's it, yes. You know, it's one of those jolly trainer things. It acts like I would if I were hit by Joe Louis.
I see what you mean.
It's coming, old boy. You can't get it off the ground. See?
Can't get off the ground. Oh, that's very good. Can't get off the ground. Oh, yeah.
No, I mean, you know what I mean, Don. You know what I mean. Oh, say you do, please.
Oh, yes, of course I do, Bob. I know exactly what you mean. But do you?
Oh, no. Of course not, old boy. But, I mean, if one of us knows, let's overdo it, huh?
Perhaps it might simplify matters, Bob, if you were to explain just how a link trainer operates.
Oh, well, it's very, very, very simple. I'd be delighted, Doug. It's a very simple thing in a complicated sort of way. You see, it's got it all over an aeroplane. I mean, in a plane, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, there's always the possibility that you might go up. And say nothing of the fact that occasionally you might come down. But you see, in this link thing, you're absolutely certain that you'll never go anywhere at all.
In brief, gentlemen, it's something in which they teach the men to fly blind.
Oh, no, steady, old boy. No, that's that, no. No blind flying, no. None of us ever touched the stuff at all.
I take it that it's actually possible to learn to fly in a link trainer without ever having gone up off the ground, huh?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Huh? Once you've learned to fly in a link, you're able to land by instruments and able to go off the ground by instruments.
Well, for instance, Bob, what instruments do you use to get up by?
To get up? Oh, the alarm clock, something like that. Any more questions?
You know, this link trainer sounds like a remarkable thing, Bob. even as strained through you.
Oh, yes, so thanks. But really, it has everything you could possibly think of for training.
How about a rumble seat?
Oh, no. Look out, old boy. No rumble seat. You see, we're not doing that kind of training at all.
Oh, no? Aren't you soldiers taught how to make advances?
Oh.
As I understand it, the link holds only one man. But you do have another job that holds an entire crew, don't you, Bob?
Oh, yes, rather. We have one type of training thing that not only holds an entire crew, but the ground flashes by underneath, and overhead you can see the stars just as they actually are in the heavens at any given time of the year.
Sort of a planetarium.
Yes, if you like, only without fish, of course.
Oh.
You know, there must be a number of fellows who fail to qualify as pilots, aren't there?
Well, those who don't make pilots, they're shifted on to other positions, in air crew, observers or wireless air gunners. You know, for a time I thought that I might possibly be an observer.
Oh, yeah?
I've always been rather good at observing and got my face slapped many times in the old days.
Well, while you're clearing things up, Bob, about how many men do you actually have in training up there in Edmonton?
Oh, now, let me see. It's a million and a half. There's old Tap and Mac. It's quite a few. Anyway.
Well, I'm glad.
And a very large percentage of boys from the States, too.
Uh-huh. I'm glad that's answered. How far is Edmonton from here?
It's about 2,500, 300 miles.
That's as the crow flies.
Oh, no, we won't get a crow to fly near the place, old boy, at all. Much too cold, old boy. You know, it actually starts snowing September the 27th.
Oh, well, that's not so bad.
Oh, no, but they tell me that it keeps on snowing right through until September the 25th. 2 lovely days of summer.
Well, I'm sure we all admire you for being able to take it in your stride and still remain your same bright, bubbling self.
Oh, well, after all, Don, you know, we've got to keep our sense of humor, haven't we? A little bit of bubble. You know, these are the days when we really need a sense of humor. It's about the only thing a man's got to help him retain his perspective under any circumstances. Huh? So there you are. Here I am, and here's Duke Ellington.
Well, say, tell me, Bob, do you care for Duke's music?
Oh, for years, I adore it.
Really?
After all, you know, I'm a rug-cutting alligator thing who digs deep in the center when you beat me dopey, 8 to the barfly.
Now, Bob, don't tell me you're hemp.
It's ghastly, isn't it? You know, but ever since I heard him in England, I've always been absolutely fascinated by Duke's music.
Hey, Duke, did you hear that?
That's very encouraging.
Oh, you don't need encouraging, old boy. You see, when you were playing in London, I was playing in a musical comedy in a rival theatre across the street. And the only way we got any audience at all was by going across the street and looking at yours.
Well, that Ellington music always packs the hall. And just tell me, Duke, just what is there about your music that sets it apart?
Well, I suppose it's because we attempt to describe the activities and moods of the American Negro and try to avoid other composers and arrangers what they're doing, that is.
I see. Well, here is an example of how Duke does that. Ted Gruya's Flamingo, played as only the Duke can play it, assisted by James Blanton, Jr., the Ellington aggregation on the contrabass, and the John Scott Trotter group on the obligatos. Flamingo. Bravo, bravo, Duke Ellington, and may you continue to make fine music.
Gee, wish I could play the piano like that. Wish I could write great music. Wish I was a great actor.
Say, Jerry, I just happened to think Doug Fairbanks, Jr. used to be an associate producer with United Artists Pictures. Maybe he could do something to further you along, huh?
Oh, I'll be glad to, Don. About how much further along would you like him?
Oh, yeah? I think maybe I'd be in pictures today if it wasn't that once I was talking when I should have been listening. You see, a producer and I couldn't agree on the best place to shoot my pictures.
Well, where did the producer want to shoot you?
Up against the wall.
That, Doug, will give you a fair idea of Lester, the actor.
I say, Jerry, boy, about this school or the theater thing that you're up against, all that, it is a frightful, it did me a world.
Yeah.
Absolutely a world. I couldn't say a word without getting all mixed up, all running the thoughts mixed up with mind and talking and things. And then I went to the dramatic school.
And they taught you how to speak clearly, precisely, and to the point.
Absolutely, oh boy, yes. How did you guess?
That I shall never know.
Obviously, Jerry, they've done wonders with your diction.
Yeah, but, I had a lot of trouble, Doug. I used to say G instead of K. Like, for instance, I'd say thing instead of think. Like, I don't think I'll go.
Yeah, but everything's all right now.
Well, not exactly. You see, my teacher got my habit.
Really? She, instead of saying G, instead of K.
Uh-huh. I didn't notice it until the day she told me that I had read a sharp, tough, biting speech so that it really stung. But, gee, I'd like just a little bit of success.
Well, the trouble is, Jerry, a little bit of success sometimes goes to a man's head. A lot of people in this community get unbearably high hat.
Oh, I know one actress that really went snooty.
Yeah.
She built a home in Beverly Hills that's so ritzy, it has Venetian blinds on the keyhole.
One day she'll meet her Waterloo.
She did, and she married him.
As a matter of fact, oh boy, all this dramatic school thing, it's frightful, teaching you to act. Well, after all, what's the good of teaching to act? What are directors for?
Well, a director is a man who, pardon me, after the studio has spent $20,000 teaching you how to act, tells you to forget how they taught you to act and act the way you acted before they spent $20,000 teaching you how to act. And that's just as clear as you talk.
Oh, yes. Exactly. Now, all these boys, the boy in the putty things and the cap on backwards and all that sort of thing, they're jolly well. They know how to behave and all that. But, if you have a love scene with Hedy Lamarr, the director tells you what to do.
With Hedy Lamarr, I know what to do.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jer. When you get out of the school, give me a ring and I'll arrange a test for you.
Oh, gee.
Say, Jerry, have you got a sock piece of material to use for your screen test?
Oh, wonderful, Don. It's a sort of a soliloquy. That is, it's a dramatic monologue done on the telephone.
Oh, you mean something like that wonderful piece that Dorothy Parker wrote?
Oh, only much more dramatic.
Oh, well, let's hear it, will you?
Well, how can I let you hear it? I need the prop, the telephone. I can't work without a phone.
Well, fortunately, Jerry, I happen to have a phone right in my pocket.
Oh. Well, swell, Belle. Always carry samples, eh?
All right, now you got the phone. Do your dramatic monologue, will you?
Okay. Hello? Yes? You don't say. 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 Goodbye.
Who was that?
He didn't say.
Well, call him back and find out. While Connie Boswell sings, Wasn't It For You?
Wasn't it you who wakened my lonely heart? Wasn't it you who showed me a world apart? been thrilling, living from kiss to kiss, and weren't you more than willing to keep it forever like this? Wasn't it you who planned each exciting day? Heaven for two, didn't you lead the way? Wasn't it you who said our love would never die? Can it be you now saying goodbye? In my poor lonely heart, wasn't it you who showed me a world apart? Hasn't it all been thrilling, living from kiss to kiss? And weren't you more than willing to keep it forever just like this? So wasn't it you who planned each exciting day? Heaven for two, didn't you lead the way? Wasn't it you who said our love would never die? Oh, tell me, can it be you now saying goodbye?
That is very, very, very lovely, Connie. Surely that could be calculated to put us in a receptive mood for what is to follow. Follow me, sir.
In your family, are there some pantry raiders, those folks who like a little snack at bedtime or in the late afternoon? Well, then you should be always stocked with Kraft's delicious cheese food, Velveeta. You see, this pasteurized cheese food is digestible as milk itself, and it's an excellent source of milk protein, milk minerals, vitamin A, and vitamin G. In short, Velveeta is one of the foods that help build strong Americans. But Velveeta is also very good eating, very handy for snacks. Just spread it thick on crackers or toast or apple slices. It's great toasted. And, of course, if the party really reaches proportions, you can always whip together a wonderful Velveeta rarebit in a hurry. So tomorrow, get a thrifty 2-pound loaf or a half-pound package of this cheese food with the rich milk flavor. Ask for Velveeta.
Never remember our first moonlit rendezvous when we shared a dream or two, one starry night. Our new love will find you, no need to deny. All memories behind you may be dismissed with a sigh. You'll never remember we danced in our stocking feet, we kissed in a rumble seat, I held you tight. You've even forgotten The night that we met, you'll never remember, and I'll never forget. Stocking feet, we kissed in a round seat. I held you tight. You've even forgotten the night that we met. You'll never remember, and I'll never forget.
Before closing the old Kraft Music Hall this evening, we take just a moment to thank Doug Fairbanks, Jr., Robert Coote, and Duke Ellington for being with us, and to take a moment more to tell you proudly that next week we've invited Joan Bennett of the Motion Pictures, also Herbert Marshall, as well as Rose Bampton of the Metropolitan Opera Company, also Wingy Manone of the Swing Spots. So won't you plan to join us then next Thursday, same time we got started this evening. And in the meantime, in this hour when every man's thought is turned toward cooperation, and more than ever before, we must think of ourselves as a vital part of a great national effort. May I remind you of a few lines by John Donne. A few lines for those who may perhaps think of themselves as being self-sufficient under all circumstances. John Donne says, "No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clot be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were, as well as if a manor of thy friends, of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me because I am involved in mankind. And therefore, never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee."
Now more than ever, America needs strong citizens. Every hungry child, every underprivileged boy or girl, every broken home is a weak spot in our defense. Help your community build strong citizens by giving now, giving generously to your local community chest. The Kraft Music Hall comes to you from Hollywood's Radio City.
Does the dinner hour sneak up on you sometimes? Well, you won't care. You'll have a wonderful dinner main dish ready in just 7 minutes cooking time. Yes, you will if you have a package of the product called Kraft Dinner on your pantry shelf. Kraft Dinner gives you tender light macaroni drenched in cheese goodness with just 7 minutes cooking. Remember that, all you hurried homemakers. Tomorrow, get your pantry shelf ready for quick, delicious meals by stocking up on Kraft Dinner. This is the Red Network of the National Broadcasting Company.